For more than 12 years, the world has watched in silence as one of Hollywood's most famous fathers and his only daughter drifted further apart. Now, that silence has finally been broken, and the truth is far more heartbreaking than anyone imagined. Suri Noel, once known as Suri Cruise, grew up under a spotlight she never asked for. Born into fame, raised in secrecy, and separated from her father by forces too powerful for a child to understand. But now, at 19, she's speaking with her choices, not her words, and the message has stunned everyone who remembers the picture-perfect family that once smiled on red carpets. This is the real story of a daughter who grew up watching her father from a distance, and the man who watched her disappear from his life. The dream that began like a movie. When Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes first crossed paths in 2005, it was the kind of story that made headlines before it even began. Katie was 26, glowing with post-Dawson's Creek success, a rising actress with the charm of a small-town dreamer. Tom was 43, already an icon. Top Gun, Jerry Maguire, Mission Impossible. The kind of man whose name alone filled theaters. For Katie, it wasn't just admiration. Years earlier, she had openly told 17 magazine that her dream was to marry Tom Cruise. It sounded innocent then, almost girlish. No one imagined it would come true. When Tom saw her for the first time, he reportedly told his associates, "I'm going to marry her." Within weeks, the impossible became real. The chemistry was undeniable, the romance explosive. They were photographed holding hands in Rome, laughing like teenagers, unable to hide their affection. The world watched as Tom, usually private and composed, transformed into a man consumed by love. Then came the moment that changed everything. His infamous appearance on the Oprah Winfrey Show, jumping on the couch, shouting, "I'm in love!" It was bizarre, unforgettable, and pure Tom Cruise. To some, it was romantic. To others, unsettling. But no one could look away. By April 18, 2006, their daughter Suri was born, the baby who symbolized their whirlwind love story. Tom described her birth as the happiest day of my life. He couldn't stop talking about her, calling her a miracle. Yet even that miracle was shaped by the beliefs that ruled his life: Scientology. Katie, once a Catholic schoolgirl from Toledo, found herself navigating an entirely different world. Her pregnancy and Suri's birth followed Scientology customs, including silent birth, where no one in the delivery room was allowed to speak. Tom even bought a sonogram machine to track the pregnancy himself. To outsiders, it seemed strange, even controlling. But to Tom, it was devotion. Their wedding that November was the stuff of tabloids and dreams. Held in the 15th century Odescalchi Castle in Bracciano, Italy, it cost over $3 million. Katie wore Giorgio Armani. Tom beamed with pride. Guests included Jennifer Lopez, Will Smith, and the Beckhams. But behind the smiles, Katie's parents worried. As lifelong Catholics, they were uneasy about the church that now surrounded their daughter's life. And as they feared, the fairy tale soon became something else. A life governed by belief, by secrecy, by power. For Tom, it was love. For Katie, it was the beginning of isolation. And for Suri, it was the start of a childhood that would never be ordinary. The perfect family cracks. By 2007, Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes looked untouchable. They were the faces of a Hollywood dream: red carpets, private jets, magazine covers. To the world, they were a perfect family: the world's most famous actor, his radiant wife, and their beautiful daughter. But behind that polished image, something was beginning to fracture. Friends noticed that Katie rarely appeared alone. Whenever she went out, members of Tom's inner circle, often connected to Scientology, were never far behind. Even at casual outings, she was shadowed by quiet, watchful figures who seemed to record every detail of her behavior. Over dinner one evening, journalist Maureen Orth observed the subtle unease between them. When fans approached their table, Katie smiled politely, then said something that startled Orth. "Oh, we don't go outside very much." It sounded innocent, but to those who understood Scientology's strict structure, it was revealing. Tom was still the same force of energy he'd always been, confident, charismatic, and completely loyal to his faith. He'd already become one of Scientology's most powerful ambassadors, helping promote its celebrity center and defending it against critics. To him, the church wasn't a religion. It was truth, discipline, and salvation. For Katie, it became a boundary she could never cross. Her parents, Martin and Kathleen Holmes, saw it from the outside and grew increasingly alarmed. As devout Catholics, they had always been wary of Scientology's secretive hierarchy. They visited less and less, unsure how to reach their daughter. Katie's friends said she became distant, even robotic, often repeating the same compliments about Tom. "He's amazing, he's wonderful," as if rehearsed. Her light dimmed. Meanwhile, Tom's two adopted children with Nicole Kidman, Bella and Connor, were already devoted Scientologists deeply embedded in the church. For Tom, it was natural that Suri would follow the same path, but Katie wasn't ready to surrender her daughter to a system she didn't understand. Slowly, quietly, she began to pull away. By 2010, rumors spread that Katie felt trapped. She'd stopped attending some church events, started reconnecting with old colleagues, and was spending more time in New York without Tom. Behind the scenes, she was gathering information, planning something monumental. By 2011, the cracks had become impossible to hide. Katie's smiles in public grew stiffer, her movements more cautious. People who once saw a fairy tale now saw fear. And as she held her daughter's hand tighter than ever, she was already thinking of a way out. An escape that would soon shock the world and end the illusion of Hollywood's perfect family. The escape that stunned Hollywood. June 29, 2012. The world woke up to a shock that no one saw coming. Katie Holmes files for divorce from Tom Cruise. The timing was cold and calculated, just days before his 50th birthday. It was more than a breakup, it was a rescue mission. In later interviews, Tom admitted he hadn't expected it. "It hit me hard," he said quietly. "Life can do that to you." Behind the scenes, Katie had been preparing for months, moving with the precision of someone who knew she was being watched. She switched cell phones, hired new security guards, and replaced staff she suspected of reporting to Scientology handlers. Every call, every movement was planned. Her father, Martin Holmes, a lawyer known for his sharp legal mind, was her silent strategist. He had helped draft a prenup years earlier, and now he used it to ensure her freedom. Katie chose New York as the battleground instead of California, knowing its laws favored the parent seeking sole custody. She filed the papers in secret while Tom was filming Oblivion in Iceland. He learned about the divorce the same way the rest of the world did, through headlines. For a man who controlled every part of his life, it was the ultimate loss of control. Court documents later revealed Katie's motive: protection. She wanted full custody of 6-year-old Suri and complete authority over her schooling, medical care, and religion. Her fear wasn't of Tom, it was of the church that had surrounded them. Former Scientologists later claimed that Katie believed Suri might be sent into the organization's Sea Org program when she grew older, a possibility she couldn't accept. The legal war ended almost as suddenly as it began. Within 11 days, the divorce was finalized. Tom agreed to pay $400,000 a year in child support, covering all of Suri's needs until she turned 18, plus additional expenses for health, insurance, and education. But money wasn't what Katie wanted. What she wanted was distance, legal, physical, and spiritual. The day after the settlement, she and Suri vanished from Los Angeles. They resurfaced in New York City, where paparazzi found them walking hand in hand through Chelsea. Gone were the handlers, the guards, the staged appearances. Katie looked tired but free. She smiled, a real smile, for the first time in years. For Suri, freedom came with silence. The father who had once lifted her on red carpets and called her his miracle was gone. Not with anger, not with a fight, just gone. And in that silence, a new life began, one that neither Hollywood nor Scientology could script. The missing years. After the divorce, Tom's world and Suri's world split completely in two. In 2013, he gave a rare deposition during a lawsuit and was asked whether Katie had left him to protect Suri from Scientology. Tom bristled at the question, calling it offensive, but then admitted it was true as one of the assertions. It was the closest he ever came to acknowledging the divide. That same year, reports emerged that Tom had seen Suri only once since the divorce, during a brief private meeting. After that, nothing. No photos, no confirmed sightings, no visits. In the years that followed, Tom buried himself in work. Mission, impossible sequels, Top Gun, Maverick, world tours, and stunts that defied gravity. Every time he jumped off a cliff or hung from a plane, fans cheered. But somewhere, his youngest daughter was growing up without him. Meanwhile, Katie focused on rebuilding a normal life for Suri. She enrolled her in private school in Manhattan, took her to parks, cafes, and dance classes. Friends noticed that Suri was bright, kind, and surprisingly grounded for a child born into fame. Katie shielded her from the spotlight. No red carpets, no interviews, no Hollywood chaos. By her teenage years, Suri had grown into her mother's mirror image. Same eyes, same shy smile, same independence. But whenever her father's name came up, she would quietly avoid the subject. Publicly, Tom never spoke of her again. Privately, insiders said he still paid for her schooling and medical expenses. Yet for over a decade, they were never photographed together. The man who could command the world's attention couldn't find a way back into his daughter's life. It was as if two planets had drifted to opposite sides of the galaxy. A new name, a new life. By 2021, Suri had become her own person. She was studying at New York's prestigious LaGuardia High School of Music and Art and Performing Arts, the same school that inspired the movie Fame. She acted, sang, and directed short films with her classmates. But one decision signaled something deeper. In her senior year musical, The Addams Family, the program listed her name not as Suri Cruise, but Suri Noel, her mother's middle name. It wasn't just a stage choice, it was identity. When she graduated in June 2024, the same name appeared on the official list, Suri Noel. Tom wasn't there. He was thousands of miles away, spotted at a Taylor Swift concert in London. The contrast was painful for fans who remembered the beaming father from 2006. Katie, on the other hand, was there in New York, clapping and crying quietly among the other parents. Her daughter had become a young woman, and she had done it without the protection of Hollywood or the presence of her father. Later that summer, Suri enrolled at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, majoring in fashion. Katie helped her move into her dorm, carrying boxes herself. There were no cameras, no entourage, just a mother and daughter doing what normal families do. In the fall, Katie directed a new film, Happy Hours, reuniting with her old Dawson's Creek co-star Joshua Jackson. During filming in 2025, Suri visited the set, now 19, poised, and self-assured. She wore khaki pants, a white tank top, red sneakers, and carried a calm confidence that years of silence had shaped. The world barely recognized her, but her message was clear. She wasn't Tom Cruise's daughter anymore. She was Suri Noel, and she was finally free. The heartbreak behind the headlines. In October 2025, Suri was spotted in New York sitting on a doorstep with her head in her hands. She looked exhausted, lost in thought. Moments later, Katie arrived in an Uber, sat beside her, and gently comforted her. The two talked quietly before walking off together for pastries. To outsiders, it looked like an ordinary mother-daughter moment. But for those who followed their story, it felt like a symbol of how much they've leaned on each other since the day everything changed. Suri is now 19, a college sophomore studying fashion, writing music, and exploring who she is. Her relationship with her father remains non-existent. He continues to pay her tuition and health expenses, but they haven't spoken publicly or been seen together in 12 years. Meanwhile, Tom continues to soar professionally. He's preparing to film scenes in outer space with NASA and SpaceX. The man who once reached the top of Hollywood now plans to reach beyond Earth itself. But the distance between him and his youngest daughter may be the one he never bridges. Sources close to the family say Katie has tried to keep bitterness out of the picture, focusing on gratitude and growth. She calls Suri an incredible person and says her greatest pride is seeing her daughter's strength and independence. And yet, even in her new identity, Suri carries the weight of a story that isn't hers alone, a story of love, control, and the quiet cost of fame. For 19 years, the world has watched this family's story unfold like a film without an ending. The father who gave the world unforgettable performances, and the daughter who quietly chose to step out of his shadow. Now, as Suri Noel builds her own life, the question remains, will she ever let her father back in? Or is this distance permanent? What do you think? Can time heal what silence created? Or are some divides too deep to cross? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more stories that reveal the hidden side of fame and family.